Good morning. We are kicking off October with a bang and launching a new series of essential marketing foundational tools that you can use to build and grow your business. So, one of the first foundational tools we set up for all of our clients is social media. Typically, it's LinkedIn, but sometimes it's other platforms as well. And so the first thing that we do after setting up their platforms and optimizing platforms that already exist is we start planning content. And I am a huge fan of planning social content a month in advance. So planning 30 days of content at a time, creating evergreen content that we can use now, but potentially use again in the future. And just overall being really organized with social media so that it's not something that you have to think about on a daily basis or even sometimes on a weekly basis. It's something that you can do once a month and then have off your plate. So today we're going to be starting our foundational tools series with that topic in mind. And we're going to be going through setting up your editorial calendar. This is a calendar that you're going to use this month, but you'll use it for future months as well. You can continuously work off of this. This is the same system that our team on the agency side uses for client content. So it's super effective. We have rarely needed to tweak this, and I'm going to show you what I do, and we will add a link to the template so that you can use the exact same system for your own business. So to start, I'm just going to share my screen. And the first thing you're going to notice is that this is a super, super simple spreadsheet. It is not fancy. We have found that the KISS method, KISS, keep it simple, is the best way to go about social media. The thing that we want with social media is we want content to be consistently shared. And so we want to make the process for creating content and approving content really easy. The reason why we use a Google Doc instead of a regular Excel spreadsheet is because Google Sheets update in real time. So if you are not the only person involved in creating and approving content, this is really helpful because people can make their edits in real time and you're not sending versions of this calendar back and forth where you're potentially going to miss some of those edits or some of that content in those different iterations that go back and forth over email. Or even if you use SharePoint or Dropbox or something similar to that, you're not saving over each other's work with outdated copies of a spreadsheet. So Google Docs is our favorite tool for this. It is free, obviously. This template is really easy to use. This is set up for 3 posts a week. I'm going to kind of show you how to take it and modify it and make it your own. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click File, Make a Copy. So you're not going to have edit access on the document that's linked in the show notes. You are going to only have access to a view version of this. So you need to copy it and create your own that is owned by your Google account. So I'm just going to call this October 2024 so that my team knows this isn't our real calendar. Because this is going to save in our company drive. So I need to reshare my screen because I just created a new, let's see, there we go. Move to this particular tab. So take a moment. I'm just going to take a sip of coffee while you take a moment to do this in case you want to use this as a working session and do this alongside me. Okay. So the first thing we need to think about is, one, how much content do we want to share every single week? I recommend having 2 posts of foundational content a week that you can share. That's going to go out no matter what. So we're not dependent on someone creating a video for the content that may or may not get created. This is content that you know is static and going to go out. So that may mean that you only have 2 pieces of content going out a week right now. That's okay. We're trying to build consistency with what we're pushing out on social media. It may mean that you have 2 pieces of evergreen or static content that we're going to create now, but one piece that's pending something from another person, like a short video or a webinar that needs to happen, and you need to get clips from that webinar to reshare on your content. The goal is to have your content calendar not be completely dependent on someone else creating content for you. So just keep that in mind as we're creating. With that, I'm going to leave 2 posts a week on this calendar for regular evergreen content. And then I'm going to highlight the 3rd post every week. And don't worry about the dates right now. I'm just going to highlight the 3rd post each week because that's going to be, for me, that's going to be video content or behind the scenes content from my team. So we'll delete this guy. We'll highlight this guy. This calendar is built out with 6 weeks of content. You can shorten it up. You can make that longer. That is totally up to you and how much content you want to create. So what we're going to do next, and I will show you once we're done with this, I will show you how to archive content so that you can use it again in the future. So this calendar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the dates. So I have kind of a visual representation of what weeks we're sending content out. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to put 10/1. And actually, this is a nice little trick that I recently learned with Google Docs. I've been working with this system for a long time, but I'm going to go down and I'm going to copy and paste that 10/1 all the way down so that it's showing week of 10/1 on each of these weeks. And then I can double click on that 10/1 and it's going to bring up a little calendar for me. So I can just select what week this is going out. So we're creating for the week of 10/6, the week of 10/13, the week of 10/20, 27, 11/3, and 11/10. Now you may only want to work in a 4-week batch because there's 4 weeks in October and that's going to give you plenty of content to work with. But the first thing that we do, we're not going to actually create the content yet. We're actually going to fill this in as an outline of what we want to share. So as we're looking at this, the first thing that I like to say, okay, are there any themes that we need to incorporate into our content? So for example, Halloween is the week of October 27th. So as we're creating content, we may want to keep in mind that like making it fun, making it spooky might be a little bit different, something that's a little bit more eye-catching. So maybe that's a note that you want to add to your calendar. You may want to share something for Halloween, in which case I would just add that date, just put a note that needs to be a Halloween post. And then, knowing that we're going into November, the season of gratitude, we may want to frame our content to be more gratitude focused. So those are just things that I like to look for before I start even like building out the template or the outline of the content is, are there any themes that we need to think about with this upcoming calendar? The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to adjust the dates. So our tentative posting dates, there is no rhyme or reason to this. Typically, if you're only posting on LinkedIn, I'm going to recommend that you post weekdays, not weekends. It doesn't mean you can't post on the weekends, but the more that we can post during the week, typically the more visible our content is. That's arguable, but just to keep things simple, that's where we're going to land with this. If you are posting on other channels, that could be dependent on who your audience is and when they're active. But for this purpose, I'm going to just schedule this as a Monday, Wednesday, Friday calendar because it's easy for me to quickly populate. So this is the 7th, 9th, and 11th. All of these week of dates are Sundays. So I know that I can just pop these dates in and they're accurate. So this one would be 28, 31, and then we'll do the 1st. So this is going to obviously change my schedule because the 31st is a Thursday. So I'm just going to keep kind of going through, and 6 weeks of content is a lot. That's more than I typically like to create in one cycle. But if you do have a lot of evergreen content, which would be like blog posts or past webinars that you can reshare or videos on your YouTube page, then you have a lot to work with and you can create this volume of content. If you're kind of in that process of building your repository of evergreen content, it's going to be harder to plan 6 weeks out. So just keep that in mind as you're creating your calendar. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list up here of the different places where I'm going to source content from. So for us, we have a blog, we have a video page, we have a marketing portal, obviously. We have a newsletter that I want to promote. So anything that you can think of that would be content you can share or something that you want to promote. We have webinars. Those are the big things that I want to make sure get included in my content. So thought leadership is kind of our primary aim with content. So I'm going to go to, actually, I need to change my sharing settings. Sorry, guys. I just really screwed up the sharing on this. Let's see. Stop sharing. Share my whole screen. There we go. This will be a little easier. All right, so I am going to jump over to our website and I am going to go to our blog, which is our articles page. And typically what I like to do, we took a little break from content in September, which I'm sure will get backfilled by my team shortly, but I'm just going to start opening these articles, these last articles that we shared in tabs. So I'm going to take the last 6 because there's 6 weeks of content and we're going to share something once a week. And what I'm going to say is every other share is going to be a link back to an article. And those non-linked posts are going to be a tip pulled from the article. So I'm going to, this is just how I personally like to run content. So I'm going to grab a link and I'm going to put a note, promote this article. And then I'm going to link it. And then this one, I'm going to say, this is all evergreen content. It's not dependent on a date. It's relevant whether I share it today or in 3 months. So then I'm going to go back. It may need to be updated in the future. Don't know what I just did. There we go. So then pull a tip for a post from this article. And I'm just going to keep going down the line and filling this in as my strategy for this calendar. There we go. 6 tips to make your case studies more effective. Pull a tip from this article. So our blog is really where we get a lot of our content from because we have a lot of blog content. And that's one of the reasons blogs have made a resurgence over the past, 2 years. They kind of died off as a marketing tactic outside of using blogs for SEO purposes in about 2018, but they have come back with a vengeance. The main difference being between blogs that were popular back in like the 2015 to 2018 era and the blogs that are performing well today is that blogs today go deeper. They're more actionable and they give you a tool that you can actually apply to whatever your situation is. So for us, like it's a marketing tool that you can actually apply to your business or to your strategy. If you don't have something actionable or really, really detailed research in your content, it's harder to get people to engage with that content. So, but we are going to get into blogging in a future episode of our October series. So make sure you sign up for that in the marketing portal, which I will link below. If you are not a member, you can access it. So I'm going to grab this one and flip back and say, promote this article. And then I'm going to say building an effective webinar strategy. Then we'll say pull a tip from this article. So that right there is half of my outline for my pre-created content already done. So it's not as challenging as everybody thinks, as long as you know where you want to get your content from. So I'm going to go back up to my list and say, okay, our video page is going to be our filler content. So anything from that's going to be filler. So I'm just going to put that note down here just for myself. It's not going to stay there forever. But here's all of the things that I want to promote. I want to promote our marketing portal, our newsletter, and our webinars. So I'm going to look at our webinar calendar, which I'm actually going to go over to the marketing portal, which lists everything that we have going on. Our next public webinar is October 9th, which is your 2025 webinar plan. So that's probably going to be our main promo point. But then we'll promote all of these other trainings in our content that promotes the portal. So I'm just going to click here, go to our demo page. I'm going to just grab that link and say, let's see, this content is actually going out on the 9th. So this will promote our next webinar, which has not yet been scheduled. So that's going to go in one of our, that'll go here. Promote next webinar. I'm going to want to do 2 promo posts for that. So we're going to push that out on the 23rd and then the 6th. And we'll say promote next webinar. And we'll just put those as placeholders for right now, because I know that I need to get our next webinar loaded later today. If you have webinars coming up, you probably already have them scheduled for next month. Okay, so we've got, and that may be one of those things where we can't fill that in until we get more content created. So I might have to move that to my green space, my highlighted space on the calendar. In fact, let's do that. So we'll take this, we'll make this our content that is not pre-created because we don't have the details to do it yet. Okay. So then what else do we have? We have our marketing portal. So I'm going to put a post here and say promote marketing portal trainings. And we'll make that the live trainings. And we're going to do that twice. So we'll put that, because this is a 6-week calendar. So we're going to put that a month apart. And then I'm going to say this week, promote our LinkedIn ebook from the portal. Sign up for the portal to access. So everything that we're doing right now is really geared towards getting people into our marketing funnel or our marketing portal and promoting the free content that we have out there, because we're really pushing all of our content there. So a lot of our content is going to be geared towards getting people to access the content that's in the portal so that they can actually use it to grow their business. You may have something totally different that you want to promote. You could have an ebook. We have CPA firms that participate in different marketing tools and resources programs, and we will take that content, those ebooks or those landing pages, and re-promote those in their content. You might have an upcoming webinar that you want to promote, which is easy to add to your calendar. You might have past videos that you can share, which I'm going to show you next. So I'm going to go to our YouTube page, view your channel. And we're just going to grab, for this, I'm not going to be super strategic about which one I choose. I'm just going to choose the first one that is on our calendar, and we'll grab that link and we'll add that to our calendar and say promote this video. And then we have a need for one more pre-created post, which we're going to use. We're actually going to say sign up for our newsletter. Grab link from Brovo, which is where we run our regular newsletter from. So now I have just built out 6 weeks of an outline of content that I want to share that can be created today, scheduled today, and now I don't have to think about that portion of my social media marketing for another probably 30 days, so that I can stay kind of 2 weeks ahead of when that calendar ends, which is especially important if you have an approval process and someone else needs to put eyes on this before you schedule it. The next thing that I'm going to do is fill in these posts that I'm waiting on. So what do I want from these posts so that I can start assigning this work, this content out to the right people to create it? So we already have 2 of these filled in, which is promote the next webinar, which I can do once that webinar is populated. but let's talk about what type of content we might want to put in as our non-evergreen or non-pre-created content. So this is where you may have a webinar coming up, like we have one on the 9th, that we'll take and split into clips, and we'll reshare those clips to push people to go watch the replay. You may want to do something similar. You may want to take that replay, put it on your YouTube page or put it on your website, and then use clips from that recording to promote it on your social media channels. So since we have that coming up, I know that I won't have the clips to share by the 11th, but we can say the 18th, reshare a clip from the last webinar, post link to replay. And we're going to do that 3 times. So we're going to do that on the 1st, and then we're going to do that on the 10th. Content from your webinars is awesome to reshare, and it's a great way to promote your knowledge and give yourself credibility and build trust for your company. So repurposing that video content is really helpful. So then as I'm scrolling up, I only have one more blank space that I have to fill in for my outline. And for this, I'm going to say, I want something behind the scenes. So I need Heather, who's on my team. She's one of our graphics and video creators. I have a call with her tomorrow. So we're going to grab a behind the scenes little selfie, and we're going to post that to our channels. Post selfie from marketing meeting. Can't spell. With Heather. And now I have my entire outline for my calendar built, which is amazing because that's oftentimes the hardest part, is coming up with what you're going to share. And that's what gets people stuck. So you've already done half of the heavy lifting. All right. So now you actually have to go in and create your content. And this is not as hard as you think it is. Oftentimes, like, people make this so much harder than it needs to be. So for promoting, I mean, it certainly takes effort. I don't want to minimize the fact that it does take skill and it does take effort to write good social media content. But it doesn't have to be this huge challenge. So promoting this article, I'm going to go to the article. And I'm not going to write all of the content while we're on this call, but I'm going to show you how I would write the content to give you some framework to work within for creating your own content. So looking at this, cold outreach campaigns can be a powerful way to connect with potential clients, yada, yada, yada. So what I would do is I would take this and write this in 1 to 2 sentences. So basically like recapturing the lead into the article. And then I would say, 3 tips we cover in this article: research and targeting, personalizing your messaging, how to build your list, and what to do to provide value in your emails. Or, I could pull 3 of the tips from this particular article to share as bullet points with emojis in my actual post. So what that might look like for this post is, let's see. I'm going to copy this, and I'm actually just going to open a blank Google Doc that I can work in, because sharing content in a spreadsheet is great. Writing in a spreadsheet is sometimes not so fun. So I'm going to take that, copy and paste it, and I'm going to just recreate that. To make your cold email campaigns successful, it's essential to maximize your outreach with these 3 key tools. And then I might have my bullet point, if I can get my emojis to pop up. Might pop up for me, might not. We're going to be All right, my emojis won't pop up, so we're going to go over to get emoji. And I'm just going to say I want an arrow. This is a great resource, by the way, if you are not on a Mac and you need to get emojis for your social content. I'm just going to grab arrows for this one. Just, it's LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. Or actually, maybe I want a light bulb. I like using light bulbs. That probably makes me a true millennial. Just like the crying, laughing face is not cool to use anymore. Okay, so we're going to say light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. I'm going to have to shrink the size of those, which is why I usually like to use my keyboard. But for whatever reason, the shortcut isn't working. So we're going to go back here. So let's see. We're going to talk about ongoing list building, providing value, and integrating calling into your drip campaign. So we're going to say, and it's not really tools, it's tactics. So ongoing list building. Have a plan for continuously building your list. And then we're going to say, ensure your emails are built around a strong value prop and integrate calling into your strategy. So we're going to go back and change this to strategies, tactics, because I don't want to use strategy twice. That's a personal preference. That's not necessarily something that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so have a plan for continuously building your list. Ensure your emails are built around a strong value prop and integrate calling into your strategy. So then I'm going to say, we cover all three of these tactical approaches in our blog post. Read it here. Then I'm going to grab my link. I'm going to resize all my stuff so that it's the same font, same size, copy it, and whoops, undo, delete that, paste it in. There we go. Now I have my post created. It's on the calendar. Someone can review it if I want someone else to review it. I do recommend always having someone at least spell proof, grammar proof your content, spell check and grammar proof your content. Yes, you can use the tools in the Drive doc. You can go to tools and do a spelling check, but it's not going to catch everything. So having a second set of eyes on it can just help you get out of the weeds and let someone else tell you if there's something you're missing from your content. So that's what I would do first, is I would go through and create all of the content. So obviously I'm not going to create anything that's highlighted in this teal color because that's on the fly content, but anything that I want as part of my pre-created content plan needs to be created here. So that's step one, is to go in and create all of that content after your outline is done. And then you're going to create your images. So we're going to create an image for this. Now we work off of templates, and that is something we change. We don't always work off of templates for our clients. We sometimes create on the fly. We typically have at least 5 like standardized brand templates that we use for content that we modify maybe every 3 months for clients. But if it's a great template that's producing clicks, we actually will like continuously use that. But I'm going to show you an Amplify template. Let's see. So I'm going to pull this over and we can take a peek at this. Okay, so we're spending less and getting stronger ROI. This is just a general template. So you can see like we have all these different templates that are pre-created. It makes the content production process go a lot faster. We change these out from time to time. These are just ours. We have a lot of them. Typically, we don't do more than 5 for a client at a time. But this is kind of our current branding and the current message that we're selling, I guess you could say. And so this is what I'll work off of. We're ready for a little refresh on these. So we'll probably change these out pretty soon, but this is what we're working with today. So let's go back to our post. So to make your cold campaign successful, it is essential to maximize your outreach with. So we're going to just say, we're going to go back and we're going to say, let's see. I'm not usually the one that creates the content, the graphics. So bear with me because I'm a little slower at this than Lucy or Heather are. Okay, so maximize. We're going to say maximize cold email outreach with these tips. And then I'm just going to adjust and download. To my desktop. I just downloaded the whole set, didn't I? Yes, I did. So we're going to go share, download. We just want this page. Canva is a great tool. I recommend it to everybody. Canva has, whoops, I meant to say post, not pot, whatever. That's fine. So I'm going to go over here, assuming that you have someone that needs to review this. This is how you get them to review your graphics in alignment with the actual copy that it goes with. Insert image in cell, and you're literally just going to go grab that image, upload it, and then it's going to pop up here. You can adjust the sizing of the cell if you want to make it bigger and easier to read. But this is how you're going to populate your content calendar. And this is going to give you a full visual of that pre-created content that's going to go out. Once this is done, you can take this and send it to whoever on your team needs to review it and approve it. They can add their notes directly within the content, or they could add their notes over here and say, change graphic spelling error on cold, or, you know, whatever it is. Obviously it's not spelled wrong, but that's where usually this is how I send feedback to my team. And when they create graphics, if I need something changed, I'll put the note here. I'll highlight it in yellow so it catches your eye. And then when they're done, they just resolve it on the document. This is how we run calendars. It is so effective. It is so easy to use, and it helps you stay on top of content that's coming up because you can easily see when the next posts are going out and how much content you have. It's great for review process, but it's also going to keep you consistent with the content that you're pushing out there. It's a great accountability tool. So 2 things that you're probably asking yourself right now. 1, what do I do when I need to create the next month of content? I don't want to totally lose everything that I've done here. Great question. So I'm going to copy everything. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, highlight the rows that I want to copy, and I'm going to hit Control C. I'm going to add a tab, and then we're just going to create a rolling list on this page of content that we've created in the past. Then on this front page, I can easily go in. I don't actually recommend completely deleting all of this content. I recommend leaving it until you have filled in your dates, because sometimes it's helpful to just visually see what you did week by week on the last calendar. So then we're going to go in, we're going to adjust the dates. So our last post was the 2nd week of November. So this is going to be start November 17th. I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to go through, going to adjust my dates again, and so on and so forth. And then I am going to go in and adjust my dates. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through and make sure that there aren't any dates like that need to be highlighted, like Thanksgiving would need to be highlighted on the next calendar for us. If there are any themes, I'm going to make a note of that, at least in my head for my outline. And then I'm going to go back through and start making my outline. Now, the great thing about doing it this way, where you didn't delete the content from last month, is you're going to see what you specifically posted. So I don't want to reshare the exact same blog posts next month that I shared this month. So this is going to be a great, easy way for me to see, okay, here's the 4 or 6 that I did in October. Now let's look at different posts that we can share in November. So while that, you know, it may be evergreen content, but we don't want to continuously share the exact same thing. So that's one thing that I really like about this process. The other thing is that it tells me like how frequently I'm promoting my marketing portal training. So I may just replace those posts to make it even easier the following month with, you know, taking this, let's just say that this post was a portal post, I might just go back and say, promote marketing portal live trainings. I don't want it to be the exact same content, but I want generally like that flow of content to remain the same. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, obviously just send us an email and we can explain it a little bit better in the next session that we do on this specific topic. And that's really it. That is how you create a consistent social media calendar. This is how you can get a lot out of one social media content session. As I was saying before, Canva is a great tool. I highly recommend it. They have Canva University. So if you're not super familiar with Canva, you can learn how to use it. And as with any skill, Canva is something that you need to practice. So practicing your content creation in Canva, your designs are only going to get better and better. Now, as a member of our portal, you do have access to our team, and we are adding graphics creation packages within the portal. Now, those are a paid service, but if you would like us to create a series of templates for you to work off of for your brand, that's something that's going to be available for you very soon in the marketing portal. So keep an eye out for that. You'll get an update via email when that goes live. And that will be a very affordable price point to get that content created, especially if you're newer in the process and just need someone to kind of give you the right visual that you can just edit for your content. So I hope all of this was super helpful for you guys. If you have questions, be sure to ask them in the marketing portal. If you're not a member of the marketing portal, it is linked below, and it is a free tool that you can use. It's designed to help leaders, marketing leaders, business owners in professional services, financial services, and health tech create better marketing that directly impacts the sales process. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on our next training. Bye, guys.